Hi guys, in this video I want to talk about the smear campaign. To me the smear campaign is probably the most unpleasant experience in this whole cycle of narcissistic abuse, because what is worse than someone assassinating your character, spreading lies and rumors about you that aren't true, and painting you out to be the bad guy and putting all of their crap on you when they're the ones that are in the wrong, when they're the ones doing the things that they're saying that you're doing. And then people are actually believing it and sucking it up like a sponge and taking it as a fact and as the truth. What is worse than that? And then if you feel voiceless, or if you feel like you cannot get to the people, or your side isn't being heard or even received or even acknowledged. So, what's worse than that? When someone goes to manipulate a situation that way so that they will look innocent, so that they will look victimized. Just ask the guy that's on death row right now that's going to be executed for a crime that he actually didn't commit, but no one believes it. Because the legal team on the other side did a very good job of making that person look as if, they weren't to be believed or trusted. So this is what the narcissist is doing. And actually, in the whole cycle of abuse, where they're love bombing you and then they're putting you down and then they discard you. Usually they're already smearing you before the discard occurs. It's not usually something that they just start. A lot of times they're planting the seeds because the narcissist already knows that there's going to be an expiration between you guys' dealings. So they're always, planting little seeds along the way for when the time comes, they can water those seeds, add some more seeds, and then they're growing fields of lies and fields of assassinations on your character. Now, I've dealt with this between a family member that was a narcissist. So I've dealt with it between family, and I've dealt with it in romantic settings. And a lot of people give the advice of, don't you get involved in it. Let them say what they want to say. Just move on with your life and yada, yada, yada. That's not my advice. It's not. It's not. I don't think there's anything wrong with speaking up for yourself and with giving your side of things, or just setting the record straight. And especially if you have proof on top of that, and it's not just hearsay. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is the crazy thing. Sometimes a narcissist will have a person's mind so messed up that he's manipulating that even when you have proof, they don't want to receive it. But those people were never for you, so don't even worry about that. They're just in their own denial, and they have some type of agenda themselves. They have an incentive to want to believe the narcissist. It could be his own family. They might know he's a piece of crap, but maybe they don't want to accept it because he's connected to them, and maybe they would feel they're a piece of crap because of it. You just don't know what someone's reasoning is for rejecting truth. People stay in denial for all types of reasons in life, okay? But I do recommend going on ahead and speaking up for yourself. I'm not talking about running around chasing people down to tell your story. I'm not talking about talking until you're blue in your face to try to prove something. But there's nothing wrong with telling somebody one time your side of things. And if they don't want to receive it, they don't want to receive it. But you've planted your seed, Now, this is a bonus. If you're with a narcissist right now and it's not completely over, you can attempt to be ahead of them in this case and go ahead and start telling it. Don't hide reality, because, a lot of times what a narcissist portrays is not what it is. He's putting up all these pictures like you guys are happy in a relationship, and behind the scenes is all this drama and devastation and turmoil. Go ahead and start telling people. It's about to be over. Go ahead and start telling them, because they're going to do it. And when they do it, they're going to make sure you look bad. So if you want to protect yourself, stop hiding things. Stop hiding things when they're going on between you and narcissists. Go ahead and confide. Go ahead and share that information, because they're going to share it. And when they do it, they're going to twist it up in a way that makes you look horrible. Do that in both cases. When you're dealing with one in your personal relationship, or with family members, especially with family members. Because you bust out all of a sudden telling them this and that when you've just been singing this person's praise, you're going to look weird in that instance. Like, so all of a sudden, this person is a horrible person, and the whole time you're covering for them and talking about how good they are and how sweet they are, because you're hoping that the relationship is going to recover. Speak up for yourself. And then if the narcissist beat you to the chase, still speak up for yourself. You're going to feel better. In my opinion, you're going to feel better. Whether they believe you or not, at least you got it out there. You don't feel like somebody just ran around talking on you and you just sat there quietly like a mute. I feel like you have a right. I did it in my romantic relationship, because a child was conceived out of it. I won't say any names or anything. And he was smearing me like crazy when it was some really dark things that occurred in that relationship. My narc, he raped me. And that's just one part of it. He did some other things too that I'm not going to throw out there. But, he actually raped me. It was a horrible situation. And he ran off and told his family all these things. And they weren't understanding why is this girl, why can't we see the child that was conceived? Why is there all this distance now? What's going on? And he made it that I was crazy and he's with someone else, when I had already discarded him before I even knew that I was pregnant, and I wanted no parts with him. And even after he did what he did to try to trap me in his life, I was like, okay, look, you did what you did. Are you going to at least just, provide for the child that you wanted so desperately? Are you going to provide for them? And he didn't. He laughed about it because the baby was just a tool to try to trap me in his life. And once I didn't want to be in his life, he wanted to abandon ship. But he didn't think about that when he was raping me, So that's the part that he didn't tell his family about that. It's a really sad situation, and I'll make a video one day to maybe talk about it a little more, but I had to share that with certain family members. I had to get that out because that just wasn't right for him to go around and paint this picture, and they need to know that. Now, whether they believe he actually did that to me, that's on them, but at least they've gotten a message from me to let them know, look, this is why I don't deal with this person like that. This is why I'm not with him. But I never stopped him from being accountable. If you want to financially provide or something, I didn't stop him from that. And he opted not to. So I even let his new supply know. And I'm sure deep down somewhere inside of her she knows, but it's something very sick about her. So she has a incentive to be in denial about it, but it's only so much denial you could really have at the end of the day when you're lying to yourself. So I'm sure that she keeps a very close eye on him, and maybe if she ever heals to get into a healthier place, she'll make her peace with it and finally, evolve. But back to the topic at hand, I made sure that I voiced myself. There was no way that he was going to do all this stuff and go and talk and say all this stuff about me, and I'm just going to sit down and be quiet about it. Nope. I made sure I reached out and let people know. And I actually beat him to the chase because he was trying to triangulate me with his new supply. So he hadn't really started smearing me to his family because he actually wanted to still be with me after he did all that stuff. Because that was the whole point. He wanted to trap me in his life. But I wouldn't take his narcissistic behaviors. So I kept getting in the way of his plan. So once he realized, like, I'm really just not going to be able to have her, then he started to smear. But it was only after I had already made my rounds of telling people. So in my case, I was actually able to beat him to the chase. Now, most the people in his family, they still believed him, but they had an incentive to want to believe him. They've known him longer than me, but they've also seen him in action longer than me, and the whole trail of failed relationships and children over here and children over there and time in jail and all this stuff. But, you know, also something that I realized, especially with a narcissist, his family, there's some members of his family that are like him. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree sometimes. So you got to keep that in mind too in these situations. There's some of them may be just like him and narcissistic just like him. So, of course, this is all healthy to them. And they're keeping him covered because they kept him covered through all the other trails of messes. So they're going to continue to do that. All right. And the same thing for the new supply. People say, don't tell them. You can tell them if you want, but just know that 99.9% of the time, they're not going to believe it. I mean, don't be stalking or doing nothing illegal because they may take that and run with it. But, yeah, know that the person might not believe it. But the day when it becomes a reality and that mass drop, guess what they're going to think about? What you tried to forewarn them of, you know, and it takes time. Sometimes they might last longer with the new supply. That just means that new supply has a longer tolerance for their mess, you know. But when it's the smear, when that smear campaign start, I advise you speak up for yourself. Speak up for yourself. Don't do anything illegal, and with your emotions intact, speak up for yourself. Go ahead. Why not? Why should the narcissist be the only one telling their side of the story when you can just tell the truth? Speak up for yourself, okay? So many videos I hear people saying, don't speak up for yourself. They'll find out in due time. You know how many people are held to esteem high in the community and behind closed door, they're child molesters? And they hid it. They hid it, though. They got everybody fooled. This is what narcissists do. They get people fooled about who they really are. But people have to speak up because you won't be the only one. If everybody starts speaking up, it's going to be a pattern. It's going to be a pattern that people can't deny even if they want to deny it. At that point, it's just going to be a situation. My kids are up downstairs. It's whether they just want to be in denial and deal with it and accept it, you know. Because Hitler had a lover, right? People will accept it. People accept it. Some people on the dark side, they will accept it. But I'm going to stop this video right now because it sounds like my kids are up and they're moving around. And I usually try to make videos before they're up and active so that they won't be in the background of the video. But speak up for yourself if you want to. If you don't, then don't. If you're okay with not. But I think in the healing process, it helps to speak up for yourself and be heard. Whether they believe it or not, you spoke your truth. And I think that is healthy in the healing process. So that is my advice on it. All right. So until next time, take care.